That you are the first canary down the mine with
Okay.
this.
Who's doing this? Does everybody do this?
Everyone will do it.
Oh, okay.
Everyone on the team. You're just first.
Oh,
You're just
okay.
first man in.
I hope I have a good start.
Well, it's not. It's easy telling stories.
Yeah.
Everyone likes to tell stories.
Ever since you asked me that, I can't think of a story with Tim. I've been trying to think of one.
Well, it's just when you saw him doing his, he was flexing or whatever it was he was doing, and you just went, he's just the same guy.
Yeah, well, he is. Like, it's funny because playing with him and being in the room, and now, and the funniest part for me is all the drills, all the things we do in practice, all the sayings, like the names of the drills, the system, it's all the same as the NHL.
Oh, okay.
When we were with Pittsburgh in the NHL organization. That's all from that.
Oh, so he's just literally absorbed that like a sponge.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't blame him. Like we had 60 wins that we set like a record in the AHL for like.
Oh, Wilkes-Barre Scranton.
Yeah, we were unbelievable, and it worked. So I mean,
yes, because even like say back then, I know that's a long time ago. Did you ever think that that guy could be a coach?
No, I didn't.
That never crossed your mind. Because you're roughly similar ages, aren't you?
Yeah, I think he's 2 years older than me. Yeah, I didn't think at the time, like I was still younger, and I guess you don't really even look at a guy that's like around your age to be doing that, right? Because he was, especially for him, he was up and down with Pittsburgh, and so I'm sure he was looking at like, I want to be in the NHL for as long as I can, right?
Yeah. Were you there when he had that fight with Lucic? Because I'm
assuming so. I can't. Was he on when he was on Pittsburgh?
Yeah, cause I think it might have been preseason. I can't remember. I remember when I think Sheffield first signed him 2-3 years ago. It like did all the rounds on social media that this fight he had with Milan Lucic.
I think I was, because I remember he was up. It was weird. He was up for like at the start for like bouncing back, and then it came where he stayed down longer.
Oh, okay.
And then I think the couple of years, I don't know. I don't have his thing in front
of me. I don't
have
Tim's now.
I can't remember what happened after that. There's so many guys you play with that it's like so many guys that you're playing with get called up, and then like your team changes, and then this guy goes up or this guy's. It's so different back home. You don't really have. Like here, we have this team, and that's our team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you're not going to go
anywhere. There might be an injury or this or that, but it's a lot going on there.
Yeah. Well, you're always worried about what's next, unless you're one of those big guys who has a no trade clause.
Yeah, exactly.
You never
Which
know
is crazy though, because now these guys with no trade clauses, they still somehow get trade or waived or put on waivers, and
you have to go and ask them for their exemption lists and things like that,
it's insane.
Which is crazy.
But it's funny because you said Pat Maroon. Me and him were like, we lived by each other. Like I was pretty close with him. We went in the same year together. That was both our first year. And Patty, man, he's like, I became pretty close with him and Giroux. And so it's just funny now looking at, like, Giroux's been the captain, Patty's won the cup, scored the game winner, and so it was nice. It was nice to see that.
I mean, when you do see a guy like that, that so well score those game winners, especially in his hometown.
Yeah,
city.
That's what was cool. It was just in St. Louis, so that was pretty sweet. And he had, I think when I was there, he has a pretty old kid. Like he had it. I don't know. I didn't really get into all the details with it, but I think like, I don't know if they never were married. Obviously, they're a young boyfriend and girlfriend, and I don't even know if like he sees the kid much or how it works, But that was cool because he said his kid was at the game.
Oh, that's
and got
awesome.
this. Yeah, I think he's like 9 years old now. So
it's like when you're there in that system with Pat Maroon and Claude Giroux, could you tell that they were going to make it when you're there?
I knew Claude would for sure, because it's just his talent, and he was on my team the whole year. He didn't get called up once. Like, which is weird because that first year I was right out of college, and I made the team. I made the NHL team. So me and Claude were up, and they had a bunch of like draft picks, first round. He was a first round draft pick, and so it was good for me because I signed as an unrestricted free agent, and I made the team, and it was just cool. Like you're feeling good, everything's going good. But I didn't play. I played exhibition or whatever, but I didn't play a regular season game, even though I was up for over so many, however long it was, month, 2 months, whatever it was, because I was like on that verge of the 6th spot. But then they would play the 5th overall pick or whatever it was. Because no matter if we're both the same, they're going to take the draft pick,
Just because of the reputation.
Yeah, because they invested in the draft.
Yeah, they kind of had no choice at that point.
Which was cool, though, because then we both went down. And it sucked. Like, after that, I didn't get, like, another chance. But I knew he would because he was so good down in, like, when he came down to the AHL team. But we were all shocked. Like, he didn't get called. He didn't get a game that year. And we were like, what's going on here? Like, this guy is clearly putting up 3 points a night, like, just so good. And then eventually, now he's the captain. So
do you think something like that can put a chip on a guy's shoulder, so then he then goes from there?
He had a pretty good attitude, but then of course it bothers you, right? Like, he's probably thinking, what the hell do I have to do? Like, I'm lighting this apart. And we had 5 or 6 guys that no one would have even thought would go up were getting called up. And so I'm sure it bothered him, but obviously they must have had a plan, right? I mean, now I'm sure maybe he looks at it as like a good learning experience.
Seems to have all worked out for everyone.
Yeah. So
then after playing with those guys, you had a brief spell over in the Czech Republic. What made you make that jump so early on?
So the Czech Republic, that was actually the year after my year in Philadelphia. I got hurt. I'll never forget it. It was April 1st, April Fool's Day. So I don't know, the whole situation was kind of crazy how it ended up, but I never forget, it was the last game, and that was back in when it was still touch icing. So, like, it's not how it is now.
Oh, okay.
Remember, like, if it got iced down, there was a race. Whoever got to the puck touched it first. So that kind of was unfortunate for a defenseman so I had a guy, I got to the puck first, touched it, and he gave me a cheap shot, like, in the back here.
Was this in the AHL?
Yeah, in the AHL, and like, he hit me and I went head first into the boards. So I knew I'm like, I don't want to break my neck. Like, it happened so fast. So I tried to, like, turn as fast as I could so I could at least get my arm. I don't care if it's my shoulder, just not my neck, right? So it was awkward. And as I was turning, the ice was kind of bad. My back leg got stuck in, like, a rut, and it, like, snapped. And I just felt like they call it your adductor and your groin. It just popped completely off the bone. So I couldn't get off the ice. I had surgery, and I was out for like 7 months. And I stayed, it was actually nice. Like, I stayed with the NHL, the physio and the therapist and the doctors, and they did all my rehab for me. They did the surgery, and I recovered, like, fast, but the whole recovery was, I had to learn how to skate again. And so that was the reason. That's what all started me going, because then that was my last game of the season.
How long were you out for between that? Obviously, you've got the whole summer.
Since then, yeah, but, like, I wouldn't have been ready.
Because it's just 14 games in the Czech Republic.
Yeah. So I didn't think I would even start the next season, because that was in April 1st, so April, May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, about 6 months. I think I went over there in October, maybe. When I can't remember the date, but
yeah,
5th of October. Yeah,
that's when they announced you signing.
So that's what happened. I finally, because no team wanted to sign me. I wasn't going to even be able to start the season, I thought, because they start in September, right? And so I had nothing. And I was like, you know what? Like, my agent called me. He's like, hey, like, there's actually a team in the Czech. It was a great, great hockey league. Like, I just had no clue. I had nothing. I didn't know anything about it. And so I went over there, and I actually, my captain of my team was Peter Nedved. He's like an NHL legend.
That's pretty cool.
He's from that city, and so it was good having him. He helped me out with a lot, because not too many people spoke English. It was I was young.
That must be quite daunting, going from that
and then
just going straight out into the Czech Republic.
That was a big, like, reality change for me, like, just everything that went on there. I didn't have a car because I couldn't drive a stick shift. I didn't know how to drive that yet. I'm 23 and I don't know how to cook. I live right by the rink, and that's it in this town. There's nothing. I had to take a tram into the city anytime I wanted to eat, buy groceries. Like, just a big experience change for me. And it was I ended up playing well, and then 14 games, I smoked a guy, like crushed him, big hit. He's coming over the blue line, and as he went down pretty quick, I went over top of him, and my hand caught like the dasher.
Ooh.
And my hand went like this, and this went all the way back here, and so I still have, like, I got a scar here. There's some in here, like another one up here, and I had like a surgery. I was out another 6 months because I couldn't even use my fingers for like 3 months.
So then that injury happened so soon after the
second, like back to back,
you
and I'm like,
just thought,
at that point I thought my career was like done. I was like, okay, because they said with this the damage I did from here controls everything in your thumb, and if it's not done right, it took me 2 months to even find a proper surgeon over there. Like, no one spoke English.
So you stayed out there?
Yeah, I stayed. This happened in, I want to say, in beginning of November. Yeah, I got there October.
As you basically just started.
Yeah, it was only almost like 5 weeks or whatever, 6 weeks, and then it happened. Finally, I found a guy that was a surgeon in the U.S., and I was like, thank God. And he did the surgery, and then they let me go home in January because I wasn't gonna obviously play. And so it ended up working out. Like, I thought my career was done because even when I got the cast off, I couldn't literally touch my fingers together. They said that I would be lucky to have, and so the rehab and everything, that was so weird. I couldn't even like hold a pencil.
Is that just a case of trying it every day? Just keep.
Yeah, I had to literally every day. I went to a rehab center, and it was just like, I still have trouble kind of going with this one, but
I guess the more frustrating thing must be that it was two completely separate injuries as
well.
It's just one different.
Well, when that happens as a player, you start to have those doubts.
It's the mental toll that it takes on you.
And so I went back to school. I didn't graduate because I signed pro and I had almost a year of school left. And so I went back to university, and the university paid for my whole schooling. That's the deal. When you sign a scholarship, you have like up until so many years when you come back, and they'll pay for it. So I went back and did a full like 6 months, like shorter time frame of it, and I finished in that summer. So if I would have never got hurt, I would have never probably had my degree, because that was the only time I would have been able to do it. And so it was good because I got that, and then I did my rehab and trained, worked out everything at the campus where I went to school with the hockey team there. And so that was probably one of my best summers I ever had. And then after that, my career just kind of took off again.
And it's also good that, not that it's good that you got injured, but you still had something to focus on with the studies. Yeah,
that would have been, I mean, if I wouldn't have had that, then it would have felt like just a dead end, right?
Yeah. Then once that season's over, you join. After being affiliated with the Philadelphia Flyers, you join the enemy. in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I know. That's funny because it is when you play in that Eastern Conference and the divisions and all that. That's just such a big. It's always been like that, and Philly is like the big bad Flyers,
the Broad Street Bullies.
Yeah, the Broad Street Bullies, the toughness, all that, and then Pittsburgh too. I mean, they just have a good team every year, and.
Annoyingly.
It was weird when I heard about going there because we played against them so many times, and they were always so good. Had a lot of guys that went up to the NHL too, and then I was like, oh, this is kind of a big change now because going from there to them, it was like a big rival, but it ended up being good. I actually, that year, I had my coach that coached me when I played for the USA national team. So he coached us for a full year. And a lot of my buddies I ended up playing. Actually, my best friend played on that team too with me that year with Wallace. And so that was cool. He's still playing. And turned out to be a good year. We had a great team, and we should have won the whole thing. But we set the record. I mean, it was crazy. Like you thought we would never lose. It was like one of those years.
Was it just that you were playing so well, or was it?
Yeah, we just had a good coach. We had good players. Like, we didn't have any like complete superstars, but we had great players. A lot of them went on to play in the NHL. But it was just such a good like team, a lot of fun, and so that's why I laughed, because Wally was on that. So you remember a lot of the things from good years, right? And so that's why I remember Wally, and that's why it was cool when I talked to him this summer, because I haven't really talked. All hockey players follow each other, but sometimes you lose connection with. You play with so many different guys, right?
You got 20 different guys every year.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool to talk with him again, and then just know like what he's been through, and just I think it's important when you have a coach like him. Like he just got done playing, right? So he gets it. He understands that he's not like one of these washed up old school screamers that like never really played, but he thinks he's Wayne Gretzky. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's just how I look at it. It's nice to have someone that can relate.
And then when you talk about like that team was just fun. There were no superstars on that team. When we were talking to Tim and Guy over the summer, that's kind of the kind of team they've tried to put together this year. So maybe Tim has based his experience there on how he wants to build his own teams this year.
Yeah, I mean, I like, you can tell one thing. I mean, they did their homework, and that's I think that's the start. That's the piece to the puzzle. I mean, you have to have a good foundation. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean we didn't have any superstars, but like we didn't have Sidney Crosby. You know what I mean? Like we had a ton of
have a guy who's
unbelievable players. Right? Yeah, but it's just kind of how our system was too. But every night it was everyone like working together, and
different guys stepping up, getting that goal.
Yeah, so it was like I said, because now a lot of guys are playing and still playing, and so that's always good news.
And then that year you also spent quite a bit of time with the Wheeling Nailers as well. Dan,
that was kind of, I didn't expect that. I never played, and luckily I was playing well enough that I didn't have to go down there. But I knew as soon as I had that injury, and then I went over to Europe, and then I came back, that I knew it might be a possibility, but I didn't think it would happen. So I was I was shocked, because that coach who coached me when we were 18, 17 at the World Championships, and we trained there as a team the whole year, so I knew him well, and I was kind of frustrated and a little mad at the time, but it ended up being good, because after not like being in the league again and those injuries, I got a lot of playing time, and then I would go back up. Then I went up to Wilkes-Barre, and then I'd come down. Then I went up for a while, and then I'd come down. So it was a good learning experience, I would say. But yeah, I didn't expect that, because there was also, actually, he plays in Austria. They just won the championship last year in the hometown where my wife's from. This guy Nick Peterson.
Oh, okay.
And he's been a top scorer everywhere he's played, and he was on that team too. And he was on an NHL deal, like a good draft pick, and he got sent down to Wheeling too. So there was we had I think 5 or 6 guys on NHL contracts that were down in the East Coast, which that doesn't happen too often.
You know, that talks to the quality of the overall depth of the
organization.
Exactly.
I think that's what it was. And not like bashing anyone but there was also some players that were draft picks that they wanted to give the chance and opportunity to, but they even knew, or they shouldn't have been playing, but that's just how it works, because
you've invested so
they
much
have
into
to try to give those guys a chance.
You've got to justify your selection, kind of thing.
So that's kind of how that went.
And then down in Wheeling, you've got guys on that team like Andrew Lord and Joey Haddad, who have been, they've been in the elite league now for years and years. Andrew Lord started off as a player and has been one of the more successful coaches in the last few years. What was it like playing with those two guys?
Well, like I said, it's funny now seeing, especially since he's been over here a while, and now that he's coaching, and those two guys I didn't really see that much, because I wasn't down in Wheeling. They were there the whole year. I think after they were up in training camp, they both went down right away, and so I didn't. I was still up with Wilkes-Barre, but yeah, I mean, when we played, we also had a really good team in Wheeling too. I think we lost in the conference finals. We did good, and but yeah, they were good guys. I didn't have any problems with them, and obviously they were doing well at the time too. So Lord was always kind of he was just like that guy in the locker room that's what you think is your leader or whatever, right? That's what.
Yeah, I think he wore.
He was the captain, I think.
I think he wore the A for Cardiff for a long time.
Did he? Yeah.
Before he hung up and became the full-time.
Yeah, I literally haven't spoke a word to either of those guys since Wheeling.
Oh, okay.
So, that's why I just wondered like how he got into the coach. I mean, because it seemed like he came over here and then not too long he was already in coaching.
Yeah, I think if my memory serves me correctly, he came over when Cardiff were having a bit of like they're not the juggernaut. They weren't the juggernaut they are now.
Okay.
When he first came over, they were, whether it's through bad ownership or what, they were really struggling for a while until they got their new owners and everyone came in.
Okay.
And I think he just stuck with it, and he became, and the way he plays, he's like a power forward when he played, and the fans down there really took to him, and it just built from there. He then obviously he's got that drive in him to do that,
right.
And even speaking to Guy, who played under him for a year or so, he's just like very meticulous, very on the ball with everything.
That's what like I said, I knew he was like that when we played. He was like really strict and to the book and got to do this and that and blah blah blah. And so now it's funny because players talk, you hear things, and I heard that's how it is in Cardiff. Like he's really like strict, doesn't like allow too many things, and just like so detailed, and like even stuff off the ice, like doesn't sound like too much fun there, you know.
It just shows us different things work though, because obviously how successful they've been. The last
for
few
sure.
years.
Not saying it is, but it's just funny because that's what you hear, and that's kind of what I knew of him as a player. So
and he's took that just with him. Then say from going from the Pittsburgh organization, joined the St. John Ice Caps for a whole season, in the AHL. What was it like playing there?
That was the most fun I've ever had. Probably that's my most successful season. Not just because of it was fun, but that was the first year the team was in St. John's. So
which NHL team were they?
Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. Like you're on, I don't know if you know anything about St. John's or whatever, but it's in St. John's, Newfoundland, and like you're on this like island, and it's just like they call people their Newfies, and like they have their own language. Like you can't understand. It's English, but it's not English.
The only thing I know about Newfoundland is that new team they've got there, the Growlers. They actually won the Kelly Cup.
Oh, really? It's an East Coast team. Okay. See, I didn't know.
The Growlers have an East Coast team, and they won the Kelly Cup the other year. So.
Yeah, no, that was such a hockey town, and our arena was called Mile One Center, and it was right across the street from George Street, which is like just a strip of restaurants, bars, and then you got the bay. The water comes in, and it's the old ships, and
that's pretty cool.
And right off that coast there, that's like however many miles it was out, was where the Titanic sank.
Oh.
Yeah. And so
do they do that's a stupid question. Do you do tours out there though?
I don't know maybe they do. I don't know.
If not, that's a great marketing opportunity that people should do.
It was just really cool. There. It was freezing. It was cold, windy, but it was a cool place because it was hockey city. Like small town, but people just, I don't know. That was cool. And we had a good coach, good team, and that was a lot of fun.
And then you went from there to a very different place, to San Antonio.
Yeah.
Where proving again that hockey is a very small world. You come across another one of your now teammates in John Rowe.
Yeah, that was the lockout year. So I signed my NHL deal with Florida, and this is probably the year I realized that okay, maybe I'm gonna, after this all happened, but okay, I think if it doesn't work now, then it's time for me to try Europe. So it was just unfortunate. Like after these things start happening, then you kind of realize, okay, maybe it's just not meant to be. But I signed with Florida. I actually received it. Like in the NHL, like you get, if you're in camp or you're there early or whatever it is, like you're not on the team until you get a letter. Like you get a letter, and that letter is from the management saying, okay, you can get a place.
So right? From the general manager.
Yeah, like you're gonna be here, so you can look for your own place, because obviously you have to pay for your place there, right? And so I got one of those, and then they gave me my locker, and I was like, oh man, finally, like, because I think I was top 5 in scoring in the AHL.
When you see your name bar on there, kind of thing.
So I was like, finally, like it happened, right? And so I'm down there for a month or so practicing with the guys, working out and playing golf. It's like unbelievable. You're going to the rink with flip-flops and a bathing suit.
Well, they got the
and
palm
your golf
trees outside,
clubs. Yeah, I mean, it's like you don't It's cool because when you're in the facility, you're like, okay, it's time for hockey. It's fun. And then you walk outside and you're like, oh, my God, we're going to the beach, right? Like, it's right down the street. So that was really cool. I was having a great time. And then I think it was in coming around training camp, they announced that there was going to be a lockout. So all of us, even some players, like he played in this league too. I played with him in college, Tyson Strachan.
Is it Cardiff?
He was
last year or the year before.
Yeah, he played up in the NHL for a bit, and he was on my team in college, and then I played with him in San Antonio because he was on Florida and he got sent down too.
Okay.
So there was guys making NHL salary still playing down there, and ended up being like good for the fact that we had a good group of guys and we enjoyed ourselves, and kind of took your mind off of, okay, there's no NHL, like it sucked, but that's just how it was, right? There was nothing.
Just when you get that chance, it
Yeah.
gets taken away from you.
So then that was just the worst. I had probably the worst coach in my career, like ever. This guy's name was Chuck Weber, and this guy was the biggest joke I've ever seen. Like, just terrible. We were dead last. Like, this guy had no clue how to coach a team. He couldn't even stand up on skates. It was embarrassing. And so that year was not good for any of us. And so it's just funny how you go from such a high on other teams or certain places, and then something like that happens. But that's just how it goes.
Then did you get involved in a trade that year?
Yeah, I got traded to Montreal at the deadline.
What's that feeling like when you get that? When you get that note?
Well, I was happy because at that point I just wanted to get out of there. Like, and then that was a tough year. I got traded, and I was on the youngest team. Montreal's farmed in Hamilton. They were on like, I don't even know if any guy was over 23. Like, we had so many young guys. It was like a development year, dead last. That team I got traded to, they were in the other division and dead last in that one.
Oh, wow.
And so the good thing was it was only a 3-hour drive from my parents' house, because my parents live on near the border of Canada. So it was I got to go home a little bit, and that was nice. But yeah, I actually stopped playing that season twice because my mom got diagnosed with brain cancer, like out of nowhere. And so that was kind of like the start of everything, and I was still younger, right? And it was really hard for me. So finally, after a couple of months, I just went in. I was like, look, man, like I want to go be with my family, right? And so I did that, and then we thought she was better, and so the coaches were great, so nice. If you ever want to come back, just call us. We would love to have you here. So I went back.
They were understanding.
Yeah, they got it right. I mean,
yeah.
So that was nice, and then it got worse again a month later, and then I said, okay, it's done now. And so I'm glad I did it, because that gave me more time, because she only had we have found out she only had a year to live, right? So that was kind of the end of that season. And then
is that what made you then to almost as an escape to get away from it? Is that what made you go out to the Liga?
Yeah, well, that was a tough year, just because when my mom was getting close, it was like May, June. We didn't know how much longer, right? And I wasn't focused on hockey. No. I just wanted to be there, because I haven't lived at home since I was 16 years old. So I moved.
So you've not been around her as much as
so I actually literally moved back in with my mom and dad so I could spend that time. And my sister moved too back home, and we're so happy we did it. But at that point, I didn't really. I had a couple of offers from another NHL contract, but then it would have been the same thing. Like, no matter how good I played, I don't know if I'm gonna get the chance. Maybe I'll get that chance. And looking back, I think maybe I could have gave it another year, but at the same time, I don't know. I had so much going on, and it's a grind back home. It's such a long season. It's way harder on your body.
And especially if you get stuck in the coast. You always hear guys talk
that's
about the bus trips.
Yeah, that's the worst.
They make the bus trips over here look like nothing.
Oh, yeah. Over here is a piece of cake. If I would have been stuck in the coast for even more than that year, I would have rather worked a normal job.
Because over there, you'll go on I know at the minute we're in the midst of a 3-week road swing, but you're still spending the weeks at home in Nottingham. But in the coast, you'll be going, you're on the road for X amount of time, right? You just do the whole loop before you come back again.
Yeah, you almost don't have a life. Like, you would go on these buses that were like, you would have thought this thing's from like World War II. Like, some of these buses, some were nice, some were good, but then like our bus, like, I think it caught on fire. I remember it caught on fire one trip we were on, and I'm like thinking, what am I doing, man? Like, this isn't even pro hockey. We were playing Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoon game. They call it a 4 and 5 back home.
Oh, wow.
And you're on this bus the whole time. You go to a hotel. Sometimes you wouldn't even get a hotel. You would just sleep on the bus for 12 hours and go to the next city.
That 3 and 3 in the Continental Cup's going to be a piece of cake for you, then.
Well, now I'm a little older. I don't know. Maybe not. But, yeah, that was crazy. I don't know how guys can play in that league for 5 or 6 years. And it's not like you're making good money.
Like, so sometimes you get career ECHL.
Yeah, exactly. That's just, I don't know. But every guy's different.
So then was it when, after your mum passed away, that you went out to Finland, or did you go there before?
No, I went. Actually, that was hard because I went. She passed away in June, and we had to be in Finland July 27th, I think. I went. Wow. Yeah. So it was literally like a month after she passed away. So it was kind of...
Because that can go two ways. Because that can either be, it'll take your mind off that, you've got this to focus on, or it'll be you're so distracted.
Yeah, well, that's what the thing was. It was. I'm not gonna say good because it's so hard, right? But it was like good for the fact that was such a premier league, and like if you get that chance, and I was in Helsinki, which is like, that's the top club. It's like the best. Like, they're rich. Like, the town was great. The people were nice. They took care of everything, and so that was great. But at the same time, it doesn't matter how much money you're making or like how nice people are treating you. That's great because it helps you. But for me, it was just, I always had that in my head. Like, that was just so recent, right? So then I'm there by myself, and there's not like that many imports in Finland.
It kind of takes away the grieving process, doesn't it? Like, you don't get that chance to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I couldn't just go call my dad or my sister and go over their house, right? Yeah. Now I'm in Finland. And it was kind of depressing because after a certain amount of time in Finland, it gets dark so early, and it's just like,
it's like pitch black.
For like 3 or 4 months, it's dark at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon until the next morning.
Oh wow!
So it's dark, like and when you're all alone and you're sitting, it's like, man, that was pretty tough, but.
Were there any other Americans, Canadians on that?
Yeah, there was, but that was so we had this coach who was a Finnish guy, but he coached in the KHL, and he was crazy. I think he got in trouble for drugs, cocaine, whatever it was. He was on everything. This guy was nuts. And he would come in, and like, we had a legend, a Finnish legend. He scored the game winner for Finland when they won the Olympics. This captain, he was great. Played in the NHL a bunch, and this coach came in, and he would tell our captain to take his jersey off. Like, you're not good enough, you suck. Like,
not a period break?
Yeah, in between periods. And then he would get and throw stuff at people, like just an absolute psycho. And I mean, you don't disrespect anyone, let alone like your own captain telling him he's not good enough to play and he's too old. And he was our leading scorer. He was still our best player.
That undermines into everyone in the room as well.
And so I think we had 7 or 8 imports. We had the number 1 goalie from the AHL, Brad Thiessen. He's still back home now playing. They let him go after a couple months. We had 6 other guys, I think, went home. So it was literally me and 1 other import for the rest of the year.
Okay.
And that was just weird. Like, this guy cleaned like out the whole team. And then they waited so long, right? And they finally fired him with like a month to go. But it was like,
they can't get anyone else in by then.
Yeah, well, it was too late by then. He already did so much damage. And
you got the international deadlines for signings and things, so it gets a bit.
So I was sad because we had a great team on paper. We had a good team, but we just didn't have That's why I'm saying, like, having a guy like Tim
Yeah.
or like Deuce that like understand it and get it, or he's been through stuff like this too.
Especially recently as
Yeah.
well.
So
Especially all the stuff Tim went through at Milton Keynes last year.
I'm not
I know,
sure.
yeah.
I'm not sure, but yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so then after you've been in Finland, is that when did you ever look back at going back to America, or was it just I'm going to stay in Europe now?
I thought about it, but at that time I was like, since I've been out now, I was like thinking, well, I don't know, maybe I'll give somewhere else another shot. And I actually, when I went back home, I was thinking about staying there, but then like now when you start getting close to like 28, 29, 30, like you're kind of considered old for back in the NHL or AHL, because they're drafting guys that are 21, 20, 18, whatever, right? So maybe if they get a guy that thinks maybe he's not as good as you, but he's 7 years younger, and they're going to take a chance, right? So I don't know. So I just looked at it. The offers weren't as good, and I decided to stay in Europe.
And then it's going to the EBL, which you're going from one top European league to another, really, to Austria.
Yeah, I literally didn't even know where Austria was before I went there. Like, I never thought in a million years I would go to Austria.
Well, you obviously took to it, staying out there for 5 years.
Yeah, I know. So it's funny how that stuff happens, right? Like in life, you don't think anything about something, and then it happens. So that was, that kind of, that's where actually I knew a couple guys on that team. There's a guy on my team that year that played in San Antonio with me, and he ended up being on Klagenfurt. So I kind of knew him. And
I guess that kind of helps going to a new team, isn't it? When you see someone,
yeah, like because if you know someone that's been in your situation or similar, and you're like, okay, well, it must be. And that the league was getting really good. Like before that, it was like not talked about so much, and then it started getting better and better. And
I kind of. Almost in a way like the elite league.
Yeah, exactly. This league I think keeps getting on. It's like on the rise, which is good. So yeah, that was. It was funny because the only thing I knew about this place was finally I looked on a map. I'm like, where's Austria? You know, it's so small. And the next thing after I found out about the team was the owner. She's like, her name's Heidi Horton. She's like she's worth $4 billion, one of the richest in Europe, right? And she inherited the money from her late husband, and so she was involved with the hockey team. And so like it was like a country club when I walked in there. Like people are just like, every guy is making like big money, like I'm talking big money, and you're getting just clothes, whatever, but they're so crazy about hockey that like you're under a microscope there, like
because you've had the ultras, isn't it, they call it, like the European sports fans, like the ultras.
Yeah, they're just like, I've never seen anything like that. Like Finland was but like in a good, like that was good. And then they're just like, I would drive I had no idea. I still can't speak German fully, right? And my wife's German, but they like people would stop me because you got the logos on the car. They would stop you down the street or at the grocery store. If you would lose one game, what the hell are you guys doing? Are you crazy? Like yelling some stuff in German and just like all over you. But when you're winning there, it's like one of the best places to play.
And then you got a face very familiar to Panthers fans in recent years on that team, smiling Luke Pither.
Yeah, actually Luke was my stallmate. When I came in, I sat right next to Luke, and
we had a guy called Robert Farmer last year who was Pither's stallmate.
Yeah.
And he hated sitting next to Luke.
Oh, did he hate it?
Because Luke used to spread out.
Yeah, that's how Luke is, but I put him in his place. Yeah.
Is that because he's a bit younger than you? You could tell him what to do.
Yeah, a little bit, but no, we just got along.
And then you had 9 playoff games there as well, so it was quite a successful season.
Yeah, it was good. Both years I played there, actually, we lost. Both years that we lost to Salzburg. The first year we had a good year, but we didn't have really too much of a chance in playoffs. And the second year, if we would have won, we went to Game 7 with Salzburg to go to the championship, and we were up 3-2 going for Game 6 in our home building, which our home building was sellout, crazy loud on top of you. So like, you're thinking you're going to win your home, right? Like that's your shot.
Well, that's what you meant to win.
Yeah, and we didn't win it, and then we went to Salzburg for Game 7. We lost that one, and it was just like so devastating because we were the 2 best teams, and everyone said whoever won that series would win it. Just
is that what motivates you to stay with Klagenfurt to that extra year?
Yeah, that was
to come back and try and because you got so close the first time to then go back again.
Yeah, I think. I mean, you just it's like Nottingham, right? You go to Nottingham or Belfast or Cardiff. These teams, like they're always at the top, or they're always winning, or they have won, and so it's the same thing there. You want to be on a team that has a chance to win the championship.
And then, like I say, you must have loved playing in Austria because then you stuck out in the EBL and you went to EHC Lustenau.
Yeah. Then so that was kind of a lot of people asked me about why I went there, and so at this point, my wife's pregnant, and we didn't want to leave Austria, like because we were gonna have the baby. She's from there. It was just we liked it there. The living's nice, and so I actually had the opportunity to go play there for just as much or more money than I would have made in the first league, and they gave me a 3-year deal.
Oh, okay.
So it was a small, peaceful town. I actually lived right in the town next to Connolly, like Lustenau and Dornbirn, where he played. They're like literally 5 minutes. Oh, okay. They're so close. And so that's what happened. We stayed there. We had our first baby there, and
you had quite a successful year there, getting 40 points in 30
that was
games.
Good. That was it's funny because that league is.
There's a few teams at the top, isn't that Alpsy? Because you get the 2 Italian teams.
Yeah, the Italian. There's good. It's just like anywhere now, right? If you take the top 2 lines in that league, they could easily play in the top league.
So when you look at the table in the Alps, I think they call it the Alps Hockey League, on Elite Prospects. Like the top, like all the points seem to go to the top 3 or 4 teams.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the teams at the bottom don't get any.
Yeah.
But then there's no like middle ground.
No, it's either like top or straight to the. I mean, some of the teams are. Yeah, it's sad they don't really have a chance, but it's also that comes into play with the budget, and I mean, if you don't have the money, I'm sorry, but you're just not going to compete for. It's just how it works, right?
Well, it's how it works in, say, English football over here. Like you can't compete with Manchester City and Liverpool because they can outspend your Stoke Cities and things.
You're occasionally going to get a year where a team upsets someone, but like that doesn't really happen that often. So,
and then it was back to the EBL.
Yeah, and then I went back there and I signed. That was nice because
in Villachia.
In Villach,
Was that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Villach.
Oh, I was way off.
Yeah, I know. I would have if I didn't know a little bit of German now, I would. But that was great. That was 20 minutes. That's the big rival with Klagenfurt. They call them derby games.
Okay, because John played for Klagenfurt.
John played. Yeah.
Did you play against him? Then?
No. He was there the year before I went to Villach. But it was nice because we were so close to my wife's family. Like it's only 20 minutes apart, 25 minutes. The 2 teams.
Oh, they all sound like quite close together. Though.
Yeah, there's some that are Connolly had like some long trips because they're in like the furthest west in Austria.
Because there's also a point where they had. I know Medvedev Zagreb were in that league.
Yeah,
they're obviously Czech, I think.
Yeah,
but that's cross continent.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I mean, I guess it's kind of like here, right? You have the teams and they're not all in.
Yeah, you got
England,
Scotland,
right?
Belfast,
Scotland,
and Wales. Yeah.
So there was a team in the Czech in our league, team in.
Is there a Hungarian team?
Hungarian, in Hungary, Fehérvár,
yeah.
And then there was the Zagreb. So.
And then you had
in Italy, an Italian team too, Bolzano.
And then another familiar face to Panthers fans is Jan Solve, who joined your team halfway through the year.
Yeah. He was my road roomie. So that big guy, man, he's funny.
Good player as well.
Yeah, he's a good player. I liked him. We got along well, and I think he's going to France now, right? Or he's in France.
I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's a good kid.
And then when you're playing in the EBL, you're playing against a lot of guys who have spent time in the elite league now. Like obviously you and Brian Connolly have come over at the same time. What do you remember about playing against someone like Brian?
I just remember playing. I mean, I played against him for pretty
much your whole time out there
for a long. Yeah, and
You almost have a
Just-
very similar career paths. Like he had a lot of time in
Yeah,
the
we
AHL,
were kind
and then
of we were
jumped
kind of
over.
in that same
Yeah,
spot.
whereas
but-
you had your 1 year in the league, and he went to Sweden. And
Yeah.
then you both like settled in the Eagle for a while.
Yeah. If you don't like really stick or love it, like in Scandinavia, then you don't see too many guys staying there that long, unless you fall into like the perfect situation. But yeah, Brian, he's always been the same, like just steady, calm, good player, good skater.
Super relaxed, nothing bothers him.
I don't think he has a heartbeat. So it's funny now meeting him, like after you play against someone. It's always weird when you play against someone and you're like not sure how someone is, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I think like hockey is such a cool sport, because you don't know so many guys, but then somewhere in your career you'll end up playing with the guys,
So like you've said to me many times, it's just such a small world.
I mean, it's a big world, but it's not,
Yeah.
right? So
It's because there's so many guys on a team. Like you've got 20 guys every time.
Yeah.
It's just different.
yeah, I don't think I've never been on a team in my life where you have the same exact team. It just doesn't work like that.
Then after your final year in the Eagle, you get that call about going to the Elite League.
Yeah.
What was that like?
So that was,
Not something you expected.
to
I
be
imagine.
honest, I didn't really. I thought I was just gonna like play forever in Austria at that point, right? And it just kind of happened out of me and my wife talked about it. Okay, like if there is ever a chance or an opportunity that something is worth it to go somewhere else, then we would do it. Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah, but
It's a good job we're not live.
huh?
Good job we're not live.
Yeah. So
I might leave it in though, just for the funny.
yeah, that would be good. It's probably my wife.
We won't say you put it on mute then.
Yeah. No. So what were we talking about?
Can't remember. Going to the Elite League.
Going to the
Going to
yeah.
Elite League.
Okay.
You were talking about if there's any opportunities that came up. You were
Yeah, and so there was. Tim called me, and we got in touch somehow, and then I started really thinking about it, and
Because had you ever heard of like the EIHL before?
yeah,
that?
I heard of it, and I actually heard of it some years ago, but I never. I'll be straight up honest. I never heard good things about it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I just heard it was not that professional.
Well, it
and
has that
just-
reputation of guys come over here to finish their careers.
Yeah,
get a
exactly.
last
So
year.
that's the last place you're thinking
Yeah.
you want to go, right? Because like I still feel good. Like I want to play as long as I can. And so that was like, oh man, I don't want to be one of these guys
Well, I'm
that
getting
go
that
to
phone call.
England. Like, does that mean I'm done? You know? So then when I realized, okay, it's changed. There's like, I think there's a lot of good players in this league, and they keep coming to the league. So that's always good news, right?
Yeah, and the Elite League keeps making noise in competitions like the Continental
Yeah.
Cup, like the Champions Hockey League.
Yeah,
And like Cardiff knocked off Graz 99ers the other day.
exactly.
In Graz.
Yeah.
So the league is going from strength to strength.
Yeah. See, and that's what as a player, like that's what really I think really makes a guy mad, or a player, a person like upset, is like I hate those people out there that say, "Oh my God, you're going to England," or "This league's not very good." Where it's like they have no clue. Like they don't. They just hear of England, or they hear of like people said that about Austria too. I'm like, you guys like probably haven't ever played the game, and now like you don't. At least if you didn't play the game, if you knew about it or research, you would know, right? But they just say stuff, and then you're like, well, it's a freaking great league. I mean, there's a lot of good players. You just don't think of it that way.
Like I say, there are a lot of big names that do end up coming over here now.
Yeah.
Like Tyson Strachan, and even last year we had Chris Stewart come over.
Yeah.
It's really one of the higher profile signings that this league's ever seen.
Exactly. So I mean, I would at this point in hockey, like I don't think I would ever be the person if I played or didn't play to judge, because
You want to find out for yourself.
well, yeah, you have to find out, and also the game is getting different than it was. Like every league, they're all getting better. Like there's no team that's like not working hard. Everybody works hard now, right? So then, I mean, it's just you're always gonna have good players, and now that this league is stepping it up, like I think that's really important for the country too. I mean, it's pretty cool. No, you don't want your country to people think, oh, it's terrible and it sucks, and right?
Yeah.
So that's good, because now they're on the map. Like this Champions Hockey League is probably the best thing ever for England, that they're going in and proving to these people that they're damn good teams, right? I mean, you got, like you said, they're going in and putting up games against Swedish. Like back then, if you would have told someone a Swedish team is going to lose to an English team, they would have bet their house that wouldn't happen.
Well, it's
right?
like 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, when we were last in the competition.
Yeah.
We played Bern.
Mm-hmm.
We played them here, and we beat them 4-2.
Yeah.
Which was one of the most incredible nights in that building. And then we played every game we played at home in the Champions League that year. We won. We beat Mountfield, we beat Bern, and we beat Turku.
Yeah.
And Turku, we beat them 2-0. And it's kind of a fortuitous situation because they had a guy called Henrik Talander.
Okay.
Who played for Buffalo.
Yeah, I remember that name.
He got a 10-minute misconduct for mouthing off at a referee.
Oh, God.
And we scored both of our goals when he was in the box. So
Yeah.
I maintain probably, yes, we played out of our skins that night, but if he never went to the box for those 10 minutes,
Oh, really?
it could have been a very different story.
Yeah.
But that's when the Panthers became, and I'm tooting our own horn because it deserves to be tooted for this,
Mm-hmm.
but we became the first team from the Elite League to go to the next stage of it, where we played Zurich. And yes, they were just
Yeah.
different level. They had a guy like Kevin Klein
Yeah.
on the blue line who's
Right.
next level
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. And then obviously again this year we get to go out to Europe with the Continental Cup.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean,
So obviously Denmark's not a country that's been on your list, so you get to go out
yeah,
there and experience
exactly.
it.
I think I'm just gonna go down my list and knock off every country in the world before I'm done, because that's how it's going. No, this is nice though. I was just telling my wife this the other day. I said, you know what? Like, I didn't think of coming here, but like everyone knows, like for me, this month without her having a new baby,
Yeah.
like all the stuff going on, like I've just had a lot going on, and it's been a little tough, right?
Well, you had that, and you had
Yeah,
the
but-
unfortunate injury at the start.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm to the point. I just told her this like yesterday. I said, you know what? Like I've actually like enjoying myself so much. Like the hockey part of this and everything. Like it's been really good. Like I mean, just knowing you're in a good spot, you're in a good arena, like the city, like everything. So it's like it's almost like kind of like revamped my like career again. Like I feel like I'm like
Rejuvenated.
yeah, like. Maybe that wasn't the right word, but yeah, I don't know. It's so that's always good to be happy, right? Like you don't want to be somewhere if you're not going to be happy.
Yeah. And then you had that really, I'm going to call it a unique experience of getting revealed to the fans
Yeah,
in the Nottingham Building Society branch in the city.
yeah, that was.
Because I was afraid no one was going to turn up to that because it was a jersey launch
That would have
at
been
12 p.m.
Yeah.
But like there's like 200, 400 people
Yeah,
there.
I'm glad someone came because then that announcement might have been canceled.
Might have been easy to
But,
get through to the
yeah,
front.
yeah, no, that was cool. It's nice.
And then
It's
you-
always nice when you have fans. Like that's what I always say. Like if you have fans, okay, there's some fans that are a little out there, right?
The people
But-
that take it over the top no
Exactly.
matter where you go.
But like, if you don't have the fans, then you're not gonna have like you want fans. Like without fans, there's not gonna be a game, right? So
Well, and Panthers fans, they're very loyal to their team. They're
Yeah.
very passionate about it, and they're a very knowledgeable fan base
right.
as well.
So that's good to have.
And then obviously you missed the entire preseason with the injury you picked up in training. But then
Mm-hmm.
your first experience of Elite League ice hockey was the Panthers Steelers rivalry.
Yeah, that
must have been-
was my first game. That was I won't forget that game because I was in Sheffield and I was like
And they've got a packed building. They've got
I haven't seen any of the arenas, right? You don't know what it's gonna be like, and you come out and I was like, whoa, like this is pretty cool. I mean, there was a lot. They get a lot of people there, and then it was cool because the next night we played at home, and I was like, our crowd, like that's just like that's why you play, right? Like when you have places like that, it really makes it that much more special. Because then nothing against Guildford, but then when you go somewhere like that, like it's just the total opposite.
Yeah, it's
right?
different. It's just a different atmosphere.
Yeah,
that's one of the
So-
cool things about this league is that every rink you go to, it's like going to a different country.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
every rink is
Yeah.
like when you go to Manchester. It's smaller, it's tighter.
Right.
There's
Yeah,
less room
I
out there.
heard. I don't know anything about it, but I heard Manchester is like.
It's like when you go up to Dundee and Fife this
Tiny.
weekend. Like
Yeah.
Fife is. I've been to Fife a few times. I think the atmosphere there is great.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to say how it is though is it's very hostile.
Really?
But
Yeah,
they're just
yeah.
on top of you. It's
Yeah.
it's so intense.
It's funny because I think like in all the leagues you have those places, right? It's like there's never a league unless it's the NHL.
Yeah.
Those rinks are all, but here every rink has its bigger ones and smaller ones,
Yeah.
and
I'm guessing that makes it more of a challenge in training as well, because you're there, you've got to prepare for these different teams and these different things that play all these completely different systems, which can just be influenced by the budget you have to spend on your team.
Yeah.
So if you're say Dundee and you're going up against Nottingham, you have to play more defensively because that's just how your team is structured.
Yeah.
But then you've got to get ready for Fife the next night, who are probably a bit more offensive. So it's like the whole balancing act.
It's I think that's why, like, our rink's pretty big, right? Our ice surf, and that's the hardest thing for players is not everyone watching on TV or somewhere else will understand it, but when you go from a huge, I'm not just talking about the fans, but when you go from the actual ice, like our ice surface is big, so there's a lot more room, things, like you have a little bit more time, but then, like, I didn't play, I was hurt, but I was watching. In Cardiff, their rink is smaller, right? And then these guys are talking about wait till you get to Manchester. It's like you're playing 3-on-3 hockey in this miniature rink, right? And that's a big adjustment because when you don't have as much space out there, like
and you can't really practice for that, can you? Because you're using the facilities here where it's all much bigger, so you can't practice for that kind of situation.
Like, I mean, you would have to practice like half ice, right? So. But it's one of the unique challenges about coming here. Yeah, I mean that's why you can see though in the league why the certain teams have different styles, or they have to have a different style because it just won't work on that ice.
So you cannot play free flowing hockey in a rink that's so tight where it's all physical.
No, it's like playing pinball. Like
there's kind of difference between the game in Europe and the game in North America, isn't it? Because when you get into North America, all your rinks
they're smaller too,
so
and
that adjustment is.
It's actually funny. Like everyone thinks when you come to Europe, it's gonna be like better, like it's more room, and it's more room, but it also, like in hockey, it's like a reaction game, right? Like you don't draw up a play and then it happens just like that. Like there's so many different things that could happen.
Well, the thing is, it's the one phrase that's always stood is that when I was watching an NHL game and this player was talking, he's like, I hate the view from the press room because the game is so much slower.
Oh yeah,
the higher up you are.
Yeah,
like
when I watched even the preseason, I'm like, I said the same thing. I've seen it before, but when you're watching from above or even in the stands level of like a fan, you can sit there and be like, oh, why didn't he make that pass? Or why didn't he see this guy? Or just shoot it. But when you're on ice level, you got to remember now, like, the guys are taller. Like, you're at the same – you might not be able to see what's behind him or out the corner of this side. But when you're looking at it, you can see the whole game. So that's always – when you watch a game, even as a player, you think, man, it looks easy, right? So – I always found that interesting, like when you don't play a game yourself as a player.
Then just going back to that game in Guildford, you got off the mark in that game. That must have been a nice feeling to get your first goal.
Yeah,
in the league.
Honestly I didn't know how my shoulder would feel, and it feels good now, so that's a plus. And that was I just told myself the other day, I said I haven't, like, knock on wood, I haven't had a season where I'd never scored a goal. So like when you get that first one, it's just like, and to get it in the first game, that was like, okay, good, like now I can. And
a game winner as well.
2-1. Won some money for that one, so that was nice. It's good when you go on the road like that though, because we're on the road a lot these next few weeks. The most important thing is getting those wins, because those travel days aren't easy, like. And in this league, you can't afford to lose a couple in a row.
No, because when the number one goal is to win the league, you have these games now.
Yeah, every game
could decide it come March.
Exactly. So that was nice. I mean, that's the coolest thing about this group we have is, like, all the guys seem to be on the same page and like a good group of people. And at the end of the day, like, you hope it stays like that for the year, is like you just want to win. Like, I think guys that come, they just want to win, right? Because that's what matters at the end of the year. And so like I said, like, it's always nice to score, but it almost doesn't mean anything when you score and then you lose the game, because then you feel like, well, okay, it's nice to get a goal, but at the end of the day, it's like,
you want to
win.
No one
cares, right? You just want to win.
So is that what drives you? Is the chase for like a championship what drives you then? Because I don't think you've picked one up throughout your career.
No,
you've come so close.
Yeah, I've been that guy, man. I've been like right there, and I can't open the door.
So is it the love of the game? Is it the chase for a championship?
I just love playing, and I just think that's why I still play. Like, you want to win, but I like I said this year too, it's like I feel even happier, which is and you want to, like, when you enjoy playing, then that's the best feeling, and you want to win, right? Like, if you're miserable or you don't like it, then I don't know what the point of playing is for. But all the greatest players, that's what they.
Well, it's the same as anything in life. Don't do anything that makes you miserable.
Yeah,
If you hate it, don't do it.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been close enough times. We lost to actually Melkin's team, the superstar in Pittsburgh.
Oh wow.
We lost to his team with that coach that coached me in Wilkes-Barre. He was our coach for the world championships. We played in the gold medal game against Russia.
Was that the one where you got the silver medal?
Yeah. And we lost to them 3-2 in the gold medal game. We were like we thought we got a goal. We were winning and we got a goal disallowed.
Okay.
And they showed it afterwards, and it was a goal. But we were in Minsk, Belarus, and Melkin, like, they were chanting Melkin the whole game. Like, they were nuts. They hated Americans. So we had to have security. We had to have private people walk us to our hotel. We had to have the roads closed because they didn't like Americans.
Yeah.
Like, that was back in, 2004.
Bang on.
Yeah. So
You're good at these dates.
yeah, it was. That was really cool, though. I think I put that on my questionnaire sheet as my favorite.
I'm looking forward to reading
moment. That was like playing for a gold medal, and that was really cool.
So where did hockey first come into your life then?
I think a friend of my mom and dad, like a friend of our family, like suggested it to my dad, and then they just took me to arena when I was 4, and I got started.
Would Michigan? Would it be Detroit?
Yeah, in Michigan.
Would it be Detroit?
Yeah, like Michigan and where Cons is from in Minnesota, those are like hotbeds for like hockey. I mean, that's
it's on Detroit's arena. It says Hockey Town across the middle of it.
It's just there's arenas everywhere. I mean, I grew up in a city where I was like 10-minute drive to like 7 different arenas, and so it ended up being good. And that was just that was.
So did you go to one game and just decide I want to play this?
I don't remember. I see videos. Like now, we're over the years of when I started, right? And I don't remember because I was young. And then as I got a little older, I would remember like going to the rinks and being in the freezing cold. But I don't know. I just liked it so much. And I remember my mom and dad couldn't get a hockey stick out, even at home. Like, I wouldn't do my homework. I would just be outside playing in the street in our front driveway.
Okay.
Like all day and every day, and get in trouble because I wasn't doing schoolwork or whatever, and I just kept doing it ever since. So.
And did you always want to be a defenseman, or would that just?
I played
happen?
forward for a while. I played forward for a while, and then I had a coach before I don't remember exactly what age, but then he said, you know what, you're such a good skater, but you're good like defensively, or you're good, you can skate backwards. A lot of guys couldn't skate backwards, right? And so I ended up switching to D, and I actually liked it. I loved forward because like you just think you're scoring, right?
The D may get more minutes.
But it was cool, yeah, because like as a D, like especially when you get older, you have the whole game in front of you, and you can still play offense. So that was kind of cool to think about it now.
And it's led all the way to this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So when you're over here in the Elite League, like we play games mostly on the weekends, and you have your training in the day. You do get a lot of downtime. What kind of things do you like to do when you're not playing hockey?
Well, I still am, but I don't really go now. But I used to be a big golfer. Like, I love golf. I played golf in school. And
I'm sure some of the British guys will get you out playing
yeah,
golf.
they're talking about it. I couldn't go the first month because of my shoulder, man. And I was like, gosh, of course. But yeah, I just love it. Like, my dad's a big golfer, and other than that, I like just back in Austria. We live like right near one of like the biggest lakes in Austria, and it's like in between the mountains.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
It's like I love being like outdoors, like out there, and being on the water.
Is that fishing or just on the boat?
I've never been a fisher, just like on the boat or going for walks around there. It's like so just peaceful, and like the mountains you can go hiking, you can go skiing, You can go. I mean, it's just got everything, so it's kind of.
So you'll be going for some trips out to Sherwood Forest then when your family get here.
Yeah, that would be. I haven't seen any of the. I've only seen City here, so I don't know too much of what's going on, but hopefully we'll find a way to get there.
Yeah, have you got used to the city now then? Because you've been here.
You
were here a little bit before training camp started, I think.
Yeah, so. I think I've gotten used to it. I think I've walked more in this past month than I have my whole life, so. I'm going to be like 110 pounds at the end of the season. No, it's good. I like it. I actually, walking, because I'm not far. It's not even to here. It's like 7 minutes. And it's just kind of nice to not be able to have to use a car. Like, I'll probably need it for a couple things here and there, but.
Well, once your family gets here, you'll be settled and you'll be looking at like day trips out.
Yeah,
to
but
places.
Then people say just take the train, so.
Train ride to I do
if you
like
go
being on the train.
Yeah.
It's very relaxing.
Yeah. So
if they're on time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. So I don't know, it's different now. Like when you're single and you're by yourself, like you have to find other things to do, right? Because you'll go crazy by yourself. But now with the kids, it's like,
I'm sure that's the main thing. I bet you can't wait to see their faces.
Yeah, because now
you see it on a phone, it's not the same as
I haven't seen our youngest daughter. I haven't seen her really open her eyes because she was only 8 days old when I left, and now she's like so FaceTime. She's so like alert and smiling a little, and so that'll be cool. And then my oldest daughter, she's just hilarious. She wants to be a hockey player, and she just sees my jersey or the Panthers, and she says like England Panther, like she wants to just play hockey, and I'm like, oh God, my daughter's gonna play hockey. Watch out, won't be able to take a stick out of her hands.
Well, she'll have a good teacher at least.
Yeah, I hope so. No, she just likes to. I think she just feels like she sees me or the picture, and then she automatically says hockey. You know what I mean? So now she's like more aware. It will be cool this season because she can actually
she'll be able to appreciate watching.
Yeah, she'll actually maybe sit in a seat. I hope she can't sit still anyways, but we'll see. It'll be fun.
You never know. She probably once she sees Paws, she might forget all about.
Yeah, I told her about Paws, so hopefully I can find a date for her to meet him.
I'm sure we can set that
up.
Yeah,
she would go crazy, but then the whole day and night she'll be saying Paws, and she'll, it's what they remember.
Especially good mascots as well. Yeah. Especially for kids, that can make or break it.
The kids love. I think Khan's kid was trying to hang out with Paws the first few weeks we were here.
Yeah. So Brian's kid is amazing, but I don't know how they keep up. I'll leave a game at 10:30 and he'll be running around the floor with his stick and his hockey puck.
Crazy, huh?
Running around. It's great.
Yeah.
So first canary down the mine. How do you think that went?
Well, I hope it went well.
I hope
I didn't talk too long. Good. Yeah.
Hey, the most important thing is you.
Sorry, I hope I didn't talk too long. I was just trying to when you don't get asked these questions in a while, you start remembering a lot of things, right?
That's the best bit about it.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because you don't really sit with someone.
Plus, it's not the standard question you get where it's like if I come over to train, it's like, oh, so you played Sheffield this weekend, and this happened. Looking forward to the next game.
Yeah.
It's not the sound bites type system. This is actually you can talk.
Yeah, that's what's funny is no matter where you are now, I always laugh at the in Austria we had these same reporters. They come with the camera. They come to the game. Jason, can I borrow you for an interview after the game? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I never said no to interview. I'll do it. But it's so funny. Because they ask the same dumb question every single game. And it's like, I don't mind giving, I'll be honest. I'm not going to be a guy that's going to bullshit you. I'll just tell you straight up. Because, I think that's what people should, if you're going to get asked, you should tell them, right?
Yeah.
And it was just funny. After a while, some of us were just like, man, you watched the game. Didn't you? He would say, you guys lost. How do you feel? And I'm like, oh man, I'm so happy. I'm so happy we lost. How do you think I feel? Right? It's just I don't know. This is the questions you already know the answer to.
Yeah.
And it's just because they're just trying to get some kind of story or.
Yeah, it's because they almost want you to snap a little bit at that point.
I know. But I think it's because you see it even in the NHL. I think it's hilarious when like a player will just be funny back or like say something back, because then they don't expect it, and then they're like, what do I ask them now, right?
Well, you see that more in like say the NBA, because like basketball players that. Yeah, they're more encouraged to have their own personalities, and it's easier for them because in hockey you've got your sweater on, you've got your helmet on, and kind of everyone's a bit. And hockey's that kind of sport where it's not about making like a personal thing. Whereas in basketball, they're a bit more encouraged to do it nowadays. But they bite back at reporters all the time in that. But it's hilarious to watch it, like you say, because they just freeze
it's
up.
It's just that's entertainment in itself. I mean,
sometimes better than the game.
Yeah, some guys are not like some guys are bad and don't have respect in like the NBA, but for hockey, I mean, I would say not all guys, but I would say most of the guys are just gonna give you the straight up answer of like what everybody thinks you should say.
Well, it's because when you're in that NHL system, you get trained in what to say, don't you? So,
yeah, exactly.
So it's almost like when you come over here, you sometimes get more interesting answers from guys who haven't been in that situation because they actually give you what they feel rather than what they think they're supposed to say.
Yeah, exactly. So you know that the coach from New England Patriots, that Bill Belichick? Yeah.
To Cincinnati.
This guy is, man, he is so business. It's like, but yeah, he doesn't really give them anything. But now he actually has a good relationship with the media because they know
they're used to it.
He doesn't want to give out his information. Like, that's his team. That's his business. Like,
it's the same.
If you ask him something else, he'll give you the right answer.
If you ask him a football question,
he's going to give you the smartest answer you're going to hear.
If you want to go in there and learn something, you can go in there and learn something.
Yeah.
But it's the same with Greg Popovich in the NBA.
Yeah.
And because in the NBA, they always do an interview like between halves or quarters, and they'll go and grab him and they'll ask him a question, and he always gives them a one-word answer back. Good, bad, don't know. That's all he does. And, like you see the reporter just go, "Thanks, Pop," and just roll their eyes and walk away.
Like again. That's funny. It's
true. Because he's mandated to do it. We have no choice to it. But.
That's cool.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
thank
you're
you
welcome.
for putting the time aside.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
All right, sounds good.